Oh, what joy, so much joy I feel each day when I feel all the love you send my way. Not a word I could find to describe what I feel. Finally found something in this world that's real.
Welcome to the next level with Keith, where clarity replaces confusion and simple systems lead to real freedom. Every episode begins with intention, music that centers your mind, lifts your spirit, and prepares you for transformation. This is your space for growth, your place to reset, your moment to rise. Rethinking your thinking, because when you shift your mind, you shift your money. Stack and grow, where small, intentional steps turn into lasting wins. Simple strategies, real progress. Your circle, your currency, because your network matters. Mobile money moves, business, income, and empowerment from the device in your pocket. This isn't just talk, it's guidance, it's strategy, it's movement. Welcome to the next level with Keith. Let's begin.
Hey, welcome. Oh my goodness. I got a podcast. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful. Yes, welcome to the next level with Keith. And looking at now what? Episode 7. My goodness. I'm so excited. And tonight, I'm telling you, we're going to have a very fantastic night. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go, but I'm telling you, we're going somewhere. Today I had to do a discussion with my producer, and something was said that was very true, and it rang home to me that life isn't perfect. And when people strive for perfection and want to see things perfect, sometimes it becomes a real unending, call it unending cycle, or like a hole or a can without a bottom. It's just not possible. And I've been to so many events where I played, I performed, weddings and different kind of social events, and there's always something just off. Somebody came too late, the cake fell, a glass broke, something happened. So life is perfect. But guess what? We press on. We don't stop for the little things that distract us. So yes, I'm excited to be back. Another week, Monday night, 9 p.m. Looking at what? February the 2nd already? 2026. But yes, I'm excited for this another episode number 7. My God, I'm so excited. But tonight, before we begin officially, I got a little surprise. I got a surprise. And this surprise, if you can guess the surprise, type it in the chat. Just put something in that chat if you think you know what it is. And it's in this packet here. So can you tell me what's in this packet? Can somebody tell me what's in this package here? This thing that's been so long awaited. All right, and it is finally here. Have you given up yet? Okay, no. I'll have mercy, okay? And I'll just introduce my little surprise. But how about this? Folks, it is here. It's in my hand. It's in my hand. I'm talking about over 15 years. And it's finally here. When fun is not funny. I'm sure some of y'all might have seen this on other podcasts on the screen, but it wasn't on my hand. It smells so good. I can smell the freshness. Thank God it's here. And I'm torn in me saying it's a book, but I'm saying this is it's a weapon. It's a protection weapon, right? That needs to be in the hands of every teenager before they go to college. All right? This right here. Parents, this is one of those protective measures. So I'm going to say, I'm excited and my little surprise for the night. So before we begin tonight, just want to kind of just gotta take a moment and just reflect on my last 6 episodes and how I believe I've grown and how I've gotten less nervous, a little more comfortable with just being here and just showing up and just doing my thing. And I'm super, super excited for tonight. Let me get my mic right here. What am I doing? Maybe you can't even hear me well. Yes, get my mic and do my thing. So let me put my glasses on so I can see. So yes, so tonight's episode is titled "My Mistake Became My Big Break." My mistake became my big break. And there are there are uncomfortable sometimes. Those things that we falter at, we miss sometimes. They're uncomfortable. They can feel embarrassing. And I've had my share of embarrassing moments, I promise you. Sometimes they're downright discouraging. But you know what? The truth is, most people, what they never hear, they never hear and see the outcome. I remember one time I went to an event was out in Long Island, and I forgot my horn. When I was 15 minutes to the event, I forgot my horn, and I was supposed to play for a cocktail hour. And when I got to try to find a horn, I drove all over the place. I found a store. I finally rented a horn. And when I got to the event, I was about what, late 15 minutes. Maybe it's a cocktail hour, right? So I was late 15 minutes. So I only had 10 minutes to even play. And it was so embarrassing. As I stood there and trying to blow, they were walking out, going into the next reception area. Can you imagine how I felt? Just about maybe 13 years ago. So embarrassing. And guess what happened? From that day, I promise you, the first thing that enters my vehicle when I'm going out is my saxophone. I say I'm never going to forget that again. I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to forget that day. Anyway, folks, tonight we have a great, great, great segment lined up for you. And I'm so excited. And, you know, I really want to kind of look at this thingy that we call we think you're thinking. All right. And you look at some things that people create. All right. And you look at something that people create. And it's almost like it turned out to be something else. It was meant for something else. And in their creation, with the critics and how it went south, rather than it being a an idea that died, it transformed into something else even more profound, right? And something better. Some call it a mistake, but it was the big break. All right. Have you ever had a mistake that you've done before, that you've made before, and that mistake turned out to be a big break? And I can tell you something. I have a story tonight for you, and I'm telling you, it's for me. I believe worth sharing because, like I said, this channel is not just for me, and I'm not here just to talk about money or talk about one thing, but I believe that everything that I've experienced and I've gone through can be a tool in someone's hand. See, most of what we go through is not for us. You know, a lot of us we have gifts and talents, but if you think about it, it's not for us, it's for somebody else. It really is. And so the more I get to learn that and get to really hone into that idea, then I realize that my vulnerability sometimes, and when I feel like I'm lacking, sometimes others don't see it the same way. They receive it with such a difference. And you know, I've talked about, I think once, that I traveled extensively as a musician, and as I traveled, you see how people receive you as a newcomer, so to speak. And folks in your hometown, this is not just a regular guy. This is a normal regular guy. You know, that's just Keith. You know, I know him for 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, 20 years. This is a regular guy, regular family, and I am. But it's interesting when I go out to these places sometimes and how folks treat me, and my God, it's like wow, it's a blessing. You know, there's a scripture in the good book that says, "A prophet gets no honor in his own country." So a lot of times, no matter what you do and how well you do it, sometimes in your own circle, your own country, sometimes you may not get that. You may not get that kind of elevation. But tonight, there's a video I want to share with you, and it is my story. Is my story, my journey with this thing we call hypertension, right? Hypertension. And I want you to look at this, and hopefully, it's a little long, maybe 20 minutes long, but I think it's worth watching, and I want to watch it keenly. And I'm pretty sure you will find something from it. You get something from this story because, like I said, it means a lot to me. And let's watch it. Let's check it out. So if we have any kind of delays, it's okay. I can always. Okay, there we go.
And now, this video is coming to you from the next level with Keith. Okay, that was just me being a bit dramatic there. But seriously, this video is coming to you from the next level with Keith. And you can also find me on my weekly podcast. And that is podcast.keithmerritt.com. So type in your browser, podcast.keithmerritt.com. Now, clearly, you've seen an empty space and nothing's going on, correct? But I want you to be patient. And I want you to watch this video in its entirety. And I believe you're going to be blown away. All right? Now, what you will be seeing in this video are just my hands and some products and my over 15 years of dealing with this thing we call hypertension. Now, I don't know if you know or not, but in our Black community, it's at an all-time high. All right? And I believe it's unaliving too many of our Black brothers and sisters, along with strokes and so many other ailments, undesirable ailments. And yes, there have been many approaches that people take, and many have had success. And if you are having success, keep it going, all right? But there are folks who are searching, still searching, and they're now on the famous medication. One of the first thing that we're told, or we go to, in our culture here, especially here in the United States, all right, the pharmaceutical companies are making billions of medications, all right? Now, I'm not saying it doesn't have their place. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but it has not worked for me. And so let me let you know my journey, and hopefully it'll inspire somebody. Maybe you can find some help in this approach. All right, because sometimes in this life, there are many different approaches to fix the same problem. You just got to find it and be willing to not quit and keep on going. And that is exactly what I did. So as you can see, medication didn't help me at all. And to take it back 15 years, I would say over 15 years ago, when I started having these terrible headaches. And one time, I remember on the job, I had a headache that was so intense. I mean, it felt like my head was going to explode. That's how bad it got. Didn't know why. Didn't know why. Anyway, they told me to sign out and go home. So I did sign out and went straight to the hospital. And that's when they discovered that I have high blood pressure, which is the same thing for hypertension. And if you don't know what that is, please, there are so many resources out there, you know, YouTube and all over, all right? So you can know how it is. It's called the silent killer, because many people end up with strokes, and some die. In fact, my father died from a heart attack, all right? The point is that not having good, healthy blood pressure is really dangerous, all right? And hopefully this video can be one of many sources that can help to get you on the journey where you won't need your meds anymore, all right? So, getting back to my story, started off with a water pill. That didn't work. And they bumped it up to like 5 milligram. I think it was amlodipine benazepril. That's what it is. Amlodipine benazepril. And there's several different ones they have, and they all have side effects. And the effects I had with this one was Well, for one, I did feel sometimes my heart was palpitating sometimes, like beating weird. I also had very dry mouth. My eyes felt like it was, really like my eyesight was being affected. I can't tell you for sure if it was age or that was it, but I noticed that there was a difference there. Also, I find that, when I started taking this thing, I was married at the time, and it looks like my potency was affected because my wife at the time said, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm not cheating like that. I'm not getting around." And lo and behold, come to find out it was the medication. Sometimes the way they're made and the coding, there's different things. But one thing we know for sure, it does not cure the issue, all right? And we want the cure, right? It only treats symptoms, but then it gets worse. But then it got to 510 milligram. That worked for a while, seemingly, and then it stopped working. I went back. And then they bumped it up from 510. And then that worked for a while, and then went to 520. This is over several years now. So you notice the dosage is increasing, right? But the problem stays the same. And I remember the last number of years, I would wake up having these very horrible coughs, dry cough. And it's like my whole gut was coming out. Really horrible. And I know it was attributed to the medication. So it was 2 years ago, maybe a little over 2 years ago, when I went to the doctor and for my yearly checkup, and they looked at that area, hypertension, and say, well, based on what we think and what they're seeing, they want to give me a even higher dosage. This was not going to be I think 1020 or 520, something like that. And I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm saying, no, I don't want to go there. But anyway, I told the doctor, please, can you just give me one size down, and let's take it down a notch, and I see if we can find some other means and ways. And so that's where my journey started, with trying alternatives. All right. And so I started off, understanding that you want to exercise. I started doing that, exercising more, and I changed my diet a little bit. I cut the salt totally out of my diet, pretty much, except for when you have it where maybe in drinks or maybe in certain foods. So I would watch my diet, everything I buy, I would look at the salt content and try to go as low as possible. That's sodium. And that didn't work. All right. And so I said, let me try some other natural things. And I tried this brand here. It was actually a company I was with. And if you can see it, the company I was with. And when I tried it, my skin itched like never, ever before. I scratched, I itched. I scratched, I itched. I mean, I think there wasn't a part of my body I didn't scratch. Don't know what it was. I don't know if it's where it was made or something was in there that didn't agree with me, but no, it didn't work. So, of course, I kept it as, just a history, because sometimes it's good to have proof. There's no saying documentation beats conversation. So I'm not coming to you with any hype, but real results. So I said, you know what, that didn't work. So let me explore some other options. And I tried this thing. It's called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide. You can see. And nitric oxide is said it's a very important product because, as we get older, we lose that nitric oxide in our body that comes from vegetables and certain fruits. And so the veins that the blood run through, it gets hardened, and it's not as lucid and and soft, and so the blood flow doesn't get through there as it should. I tried it for maybe 3 months. Nothing changed. All right. And so I said, let me try something else. So I tried this right here also with a cleanser. Because sometimes, when you take stuff, you want to clean your system out, and hopefully, that would help to let whatever you put in your body work better. All right. Anyway, I tried this. This is a detox, and this is the actual, it's called glucobio. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that these products don't work for other people. Not saying that. I'm saying that didn't work for me. So if you try these and it works for you, keep doing it. Hey, more power to you. This didn't work, and I tried it for about 3-4 months. You see, one of the reasons why I mentioned 3-4 months, sometimes even more, is because most people who talk about these products, especially those who give testimonials, they're saying like the first week. They're saying like the first 2 weeks. Some the first month. That's the most I've heard as far as them getting the results that they wanted. So I'm like, let me go further, do 3, 4, 5 months, sometimes even 6 months, to make sure that is it working or not. Anyway, I've learned about something called CMOS Advanced, and saw it online. Maybe you have yourself. And CMOS, I tried CMOS and did it for, I think, 3 months again, 3-4 months. Didn't see a difference, didn't feel a difference. Coughing persisted, and other things, persisted. And so I say, what? Let me just try something else. See, I'm a fighter. And the same way I have tried online businesses for over the past 20 years, I just never stopped. Let's get on going, because I know that someday I'm going to find the right one that works for me. Anyway, my journey doesn't stop there. I'm a fighter, and I keep going. So let me give this a try. Let me give this thing called beetroots. It's called beets, right? And it also has nitric oxide involved. See how big that thing is right there? And I tried it for a while. I think I have maybe 4 or 5 containers, because one lasts for the month. And I tried different flavors. Didn't necessarily like the flavor. It was a bit grainy and, not as nice to the taste. But I figured, well, you know what? I'm trying to get rid of this hypertension. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't worry about taste. Tried it for a while, and it did not do the job. It did not do the job. But I keep going. I heard something about these things called oregano, oil of oregano, and I hear it's good for the body, and black seed. Some folks said they've tried it and it works for that as well. It helps to relieve their hypertension. How it does, I don't know, but that's what the claims some say it is. Anyway, tried it for a while. I think it's good to take anyway, just to have, I think it's good for like parasites and that kind of thing, and help to get your body, in a better shape. And I've benefited from this product, but did not touch the hypertension in any way, shape, or form, as far as my understanding. All right, so now, like I say, I don't quit. So I'm trying this thing. It's called cayenne peppers, right? From Val's Off, right? Pretty cute product. It's like a drop. You put it, in your mouth, a few drops, and tried it for a while. And so far, I don't notice any difference. I don't see where it has dropped. Now, so far, this is over the last, 2 years. And so the last year, I keep going to have my pressure checked. And I'm hearing numbers like 150 over 100, 140 over 95, 150 over 110, 150 over 105. Those high numbers, alarming numbers. And like I said, hypertension is known to be a silent killer. So even sometimes when you don't feel like you have any headaches or nothing unusual is happening, it is still very dangerous. And the thing about hypertension that's crazy, it affects the entire body. It affects your eyes. It affects your lungs, your liver. It affects everything. Because when blood is racing through your body in a way that's not homeostasis, it's not normal, that 120 over 80, believe me, you're at risk for a lot of things. And I've seen people my age and younger having strokes. Scary. And I'm like, you know what? I have things to do. I have places to go. I have people to see. And I want to live healthy. I want to get married again. So funny. But the point is that I want to be healthy and be my best self. Not just spiritually, mentally, or emotionally, but also physically. And so I said, this didn't work. And also, I looked at something called magnesium complex. I mean, you know, there's something to be said about magnesium as you get older. And why is magnesium complex? Is because it has the different magnesium that the body needs in one. All right. So I'm going for the gusto. I'm going for like the bullseye, not just one. Okay, you can take one, but you need this, you need that for this. But the complex is like the 4, 5, or 6 different magnesium that you need in your body. All right. I try this, and again, I'm not seeing the result that I'm looking for. But you know, this next product that you're about to see, drum roll. This next product, I practically purchased it almost by accident. All right, I was a part of this company, and to be honest with you, I had to do a monthly purchase. All right, a monthly membership for a particular thing, and I could either buy a product, right, that of the same cost opposed to the service. So I said, being that I was looking to try this product, not necessarily at that point, I was just looking to make sure I had my payment going, because my card got compromised, and when I changed it, I didn't update the card in the system. So I'm there almost losing my account. I almost lost my account, not knowing that payment wasn't going through. So I was trying to make sure I made a purchase or did something to keep my account active and alive. And so when I went on the site to make a purchase, I figured, well, this is comparable as far as the price with my regular monthly service. So I was saying, let me just try it. And that's when I got that product. Like I said, I was going to buy it sometime in the future, but not right there and then. But I ended up purchasing this product. And when I did, to my surprise, 2 weeks later, I checked my blood pressure. I'm talking numbers I've not seen in years. I'm talking 130, 120 over 80. I know it wasn't luck, but this product here, when I heard demonstration of it, and you can find it on my podcast, right? I mentioned to you earlier, you can check out my hubs, and you can find this product in the Passive Income Hub. All right. You might also find it in the Family Protection Hub. Yeah, I think I have it in both places because, you know, protecting the family is not just one dimension. All right. I have things that can protect a family legally. You want to check that out. But this right here, I would say protecting your family health-wise, because who wants to lose a dad or a husband or a spouse or a wife prematurely, or a son or a dad or mom? Who wants to lose them prematurely because of hypertension? So we protect our health, and believe me, I say you can keep your money, you can keep your wealth, keep your fancy cars and your houses, but give me my health, because my health is my wealth. So I am super excited that I can give you this testimony. Hope I didn't bore you. Hope that you thought that this was meaningful to you. And like I said, if you have something that works for you, by all means, continue. But if you are looking for something, you've tried some of these already, and it's not working, and you're clear on that, you're still taking your medication, maybe you want to explore this product here. And let me show you up close. Daily Greens and Reds. All right? Daily Greens and Reds. Powerful product. Powerful product. I'm so happy. I'm so impressed. And I say, if this company was only selling that product alone, they could still be a multi-billionaire company. Because when you can solve an issue like hypertension, you're really solving a major issue. All right? So, yes, medication, thank God for doctors and what they do. Thank God for doctors and medication. But I don't think it's designed to cure the problem. And what we want to do is to solve the problem. So, I'm here and I'm looking forward to share it not just locally or nationally, but also internationally, because I think so many people are looking for something like this. You know, I played at an event recently. You know, I do my horn, and you know, I asked about anyone in the family who has hypertension, and two black gentlemen, a little older than me, said the same thing almost within unison. Which black person doesn't deal with hypertension? So that's what they said to me. Which black person you know that doesn't deal with hypertension? They were saying that it's that bad. So like I said, too many of us are having premature deaths and illnesses that's not needed, and I believe can be cured. Anyway, thanks for your time, and I look forward to sharing more with you. Like I say, you can check out my podcast. That's podcast.keithmerritt.com, and see all that I share. It's not just on health or other things, but this right here is something that I feel is like needed like yesterday. So thanks for your time, and you take care of yourself, take care of your health, and live long, healthy, and prosperous. And God bless you. Thank you for watching.
All right. I hope you enjoy that. Now, let me make some important medical disclaimer here. This video is for educational and personal storytelling purpose only. I'm not a doctor. No, I'm not. And this is not a medical advice. Everyone's body condition and treatment plan is different. All right, let's keep that in mind. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare professional before starting, stopping, or changing any medication or treatment. That's just a disclaimer. And it's funny because there were things I tried outside of what I showed you. One of the things was something called aged garlic. It's relatively new, but I'm hearing good things about it from people. I tried it myself, and for a while, on my second bag, and also did not get the result that I wanted. And it is what it is, right? But like I said, when I tried that last greens and reds, all right, it worked. So again, I'm not a medical doctor. My disclaimer, I'm not saying to you not to consult your doctor, all right? But I'm happy that I can share success, because hypertension is real. It's a real thing. And that's what that is. And before we go to our next segment, I want to just take a moment for our partners.
This moment is for builders, visionaries, and brands with purpose. If you want access, alignment, and momentum, not just motivation, this is your step forward. Join the next level with Keith channel members. Whether you're a freedom chaser, freedom supporter, next level insider, or next level builder, this is where growth gets structure and community becomes currency. And for partners with a mission, we don't just promote brands. We position purpose. Bring your cause, your company, your message, and let's amplify it with intention and impact. Membership opens the door. Partnership expands the reach.
Women and Men of Excellence Outreach Ministries is a global church without walls.
We're serving communities through live services, prayer intervention, and outreach that changes lives. Support our $500 monthly giving drive at WAMOE.org/give. Shop with purpose at faithmerchandise.com, featuring Dr. Faith's Miracle Lemonade. Book Dr. Faith for therapy, speaking, or ministry at drfaithreborn.com. Grow through professional connection and vocational training at theexcelproject.com. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter and follow us on socials at WAMOE Ministries. Become a great motivator. Help us empower minds for success in the kingdom of God.
Yes, that's a pretty powerful ministry right there. And I tell you, we want to continue supporting that. If you feel alignment with such a ministry that's such on the ground, I call it boots on the ground. And when you find those kind of ministries, you want to kind of lock arms and support with your $10, your $15, $25, your $100, whatever it is you can do, because as you can see, their goal is to raise $500 per month, and we're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. All right, because we know we have love and we have vision, and and we're here to show you those things so you can see that it's not just hype and we're just begging for stuff, but these folks are really saying, hey, when you donate and you send your taxable gift, it goes somewhere, right? It is useful for so many other people that you can't even reach yourself, but your money can reach. So it's a beautiful thing. And there's another one that I will show later on in the show, another spotlight moments. I want to show you of another ministry that's doing a great work. So just hang in there, and there's so much more good stuff to come. Yes, so at this point, we're gonna look at something we call stack and grow. Stack and grow. That's the way to go. Stack and grow. And if I could even parallel this story that I share with you in the video, um, with my years, my over 15 years dealing with hypertension, if I could parallel that story, how I actually didn't give up. But when I started my journey, you know, I didn't know where it was going to lead. I was hoping for a result on the first try, like most of us do, right? We want to see things happen right away. And most of us don't want to wait too long, and that's the fact. We want to have quick results. And of course, we're in a microwave age anyway. So, as I mentioned, as I started, you see how many products I've tried and used. Now, these products, they took time to consider. I didn't always rush. I would see this maybe 4, 5, 6 times before I said, let me try it. I, sometimes would do a little research myself before I even purchase a product. I would get some, some we call it reviews on the product and some feedbacks as far as what people are saying. And my faith got a little built up. So I said, I'm gonna try. I try this one, I try that one, I try the other one. And it was, of course, over time, but it again was stacking. You see, I was stacking. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. And so is it with my approach in business, in online business. And you might have heard me talk about my over 20 years of exploring the online world. All right. Trying to find that alternative, that added income, that extra income that so many talk about and dream about. Right. Now, I'm not saying I want to be a millionaire or a billionaire. That's not the goal. But my goodness, who want to be tied to a job for 30, 40 years if you don't have to? All right. And you can get the kind of funds to do extra things and to even help your favorite charity and whatever one you want to do with your stuff. But again, not having the guidance, not having the understanding, being a bit scattered, right? Not as focused, or worse, not having a strategy. If you hear me talk about coaching on this podcast, if you hear me talk about mentorship, I'm telling you, it is the root, it is the groundwork, it's the key, one of the major keys. And you know what I found out? A lot of folks that we see on TV, online, who are successful or seemingly successful, they have coaches. They may not tell you who they are. They don't need to tell you who they are. Some do, but these people have coaches that keeps them in line, keeps them in check. All right, because that's a very fundamental thing, having a coach. And so, therefore, looking at stacking and growing, I did show a health perspective, all right, on that. But you think about staying power, all right, patience. So a lot of you might have said, you know what, done it, I've tried it long enough, and I don't think it is possible. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be very transparent with you. On the last podcast, when I read my comments, I almost cried. I really did. I felt so moved when I heard a comment that says, you know what, that was me. I really was at a place where it's like, yeah, it was no more. I was done. I'm paraphrasing, but you could hear that in the message, that I do concur with you. I've had those never again moments. I've had those moments, and many of us do. And to see how this podcast here affected that person. I always say, not always about the millions that happen that makes you say, wow, I'm no star. No, those people that you touch and you don't know where they are, what country they're from, and they're watching, and they say, you know what, this could be my new day. This could be my moment, because they probably never heard something like this in this manner. Because the one thing I try to do is to be vulnerable if I can. And I can tell you, there was a time when I saw people as just a number. I've been there. I was only trying to get my authorship, my monthly commitment taken care of. And I was just a mad hunter trying to what? Get the next person to join. Didn't understand what they were about. Didn't get to know what they wanted. Didn't get to see how, they may have had, some terrible history, didn't see their trauma. Didn't understand that. So I was just trying to hit anything that I could see move. And that wasn't the approach. All right. So yeah, I can be real, I can be honest about that. But I've grown past that. All right. And so I learned to not only be authentic, right? But also knowing that I'm not for the ones who are just here, or here to get a buzz, to get some kind of a high. Because the culture that we live in, and you wonder why things like TikTok and some of these platforms do so well, because it's like almost like a high. You're scrolling all day for that high, the next thing, the next thing. And when you're scrolling for 2 or 3 hours, what have you accomplished? What have you changed about your understanding, your thinking, your rethinking? What happened when you scroll for hours and end? You have couples in their beds with phones, and they're both on the line scrolling away and not even talking to each other. All right, they've lost the humanity. They've lost the touch, the human touch. And what this is about the human touch. And you know, you think about living with hypertension for years, as I mentioned in the video, you know, and tried so many different things, and heard the same thing over and over again. You go to the doctor said to you, you know what, you're going to have to live with this for the rest of your life. Sorry, I too take meds. I'm on my meds every day. I said, I'm not buying that. I'm rethinking here. All right. I'm stacking. I'm growing. I'm stacking. I believe it's possible. Other people do it. Why can't I? And so the reality is that I'm very happy that, you know, when someone can say, you know what, I heard you, I hear you, I connect with you, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty. You know, instead of giving up, instead of giving up, you're seeing me show you distinctively what I've done, and it was hard, it was grueling, it was painful. All right, not giving up is a major part of winning. Just not giving up. A lot of you right now, you're saying, you know, I would love to help my mom get maybe a better place. Maybe I like to send my mom on a vacation. Some of you have houses that you bought and don't even live in there. You're working two, three jobs. A lot of you, you know, you reached 60 or 70 and said, man, I could have, would have done that. See, when I share with you my, 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 my story, this is not just for hype. I don't know whether this book will sell millions or not, but I feel that I have set out something that was in my heart, and to see it come to a point of fruition, right? And I hold it in my hands. This to me, it means more than words can say, because I'm saying to my kids, my daughter, my two daughters, and my son, that if dad can do this, so can you, and much greater. So, stacking and growing, it's a process. It's a process. And maybe you have paused for 5 years. Guess what? Start restacking again. It's not over. All right. You might have been paused for 10 years. Start stacking again. All right. And this video could be that pivotal moment. All right. That thing that you probably needed to hear. Say, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And that's the beauty about this. Now, when it comes to stacking and growing, there are three things I wanted to consider. Three things I wanted to consider. The first one is this: health is foundational capital. All right. I'm still kind of paralleling my story with stack and growing. All right. So the story that I gave you, I was trying to show some points in that. And one point is this: health is foundational capital. Because guess what happened? You can have all the money that you can garner, right? But if you don't have your health, I know folks right now who would trade anything they could trade for health. The other thing that I want to talk about is persistence compounds. So while you remain constant and persistent, things happen in that builds you and builds and builds, right? And so it builds to where you get to that place where you need to be. So persistency, that means you're still in the game. Sometimes you may be beaten down, battered down. You may go to some embarrassing moments. Folks may say bad things about you and all that good stuff, all that fancy stuff, as some would say. But you're compounding, and you're more, I would say, fine tuning your resolve. That, you know what, I'm going to do this. And the third thing that you want to look at, and progress sometimes shows up after years of consistency. So the progress sometimes that you seek shows up years after. And that's my story. All right. So as long as there's life, there's breath. All right. Believe me, there is that potential for a story of glory. See, I'm rhyming all day because I guess that's the songwriter in me. I guess the songwriter in me, I'm rhyming sometimes, or the poet in me. Yeah. But but stacking small, right? Informed steps over time can still lead to breakthroughs, right? Many times when you're stacking, it's almost like breakdowns when it doesn't take place the way you desire it or you think it's gonna happen. It's like a breakdown, but guess what happened? You get your breakthroughs. All right. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about this. And before I go to my next segment, I'm going to also have a moment for partners.
This moment is for builders, visionaries, and brands with purpose. If you want access, alignment, and momentum, not just motivation, this is your step forward. Join the next level with Keith channel members. Whether you're a freedom chaser, freedom supporter, next level insider, or next level builder, this is where growth gets structure and community becomes currency. And for partners with a mission, we don't just promote brands, we position purpose. Bring your cause, your company, your message, and let's amplify it with intention and impact. Membership opens the door. Partnership expands the reach.
Strong organizations are built on more than strategy, they're built on people. At Human Impact Development Consulting, we help organizations strengthen leadership and support staff well-being. We put clear people systems in place that actually work. From HR advisory and policy development to leadership support, we cover it all. Our approach is practical, ethical, and people-centered. If ready for clarity, confidence, and sustainable impact, visit sandrinedunkley.com. Human Impact Development Consulting, where people systems meet performance.
Yes, and yet there's another one that I wanted to check out. This is GFIH Ministries. I wanted to look at this one here, powerful again, on the ground, on the boots, GFIH Ministries.
Gospel Foundation International Healing Ministries is a Bible-based ministry. Through worship, prayer, and deliverance, we help individuals find restoration. We equip believers to build stronger families and healthier communities. Footprints of Faith Radio shares real stories of healing and hope. Bible Talk for Children helps kids develop strong moral foundations. Apply for sponsored digital advancement support for growing your reach. Your support makes this possible. We're aiming for a $500 monthly goal. Support, partner, or give today at gfihministries.org/give. It's a place that's real.
Yes, that is Gospel International. Yes, that's Gospel Foundation International Ministries. All right, that's also a powerful ministry, Gospel Foundation International Ministries. And they also doing a great work. And they too have a monthly goal of raising $500 for the ministry. And like I said to you earlier, these are tax deductible gifts. All right, so what is it? $15, $20, $50, or you want to give the whole five. There are folks who are like that. They just have a giving hand and they see it and they're locked into what you're doing and they feel that connection. They feel that sense of purpose, that alignment. Oh, they don't mind. And so that's the hope, that you will feel that and see that. No forcing, no begging, just let you know what we're doing. And if you feel aligned with it, you feel a sense of vision, then you have the perfect ministry that you can support. And we do appreciate you and tell you thanks in advance for what you do. Yes, so our next segment coming up, y'all, one of my favorite segment, and it is your circle, your currency. Have you heard about something called Play-Doh? Have you heard about Play-Doh? Play-Doh is one of the most fun thing that you see kids like to have. And believe me, I must confess, I've been in school because work in the educational field, so I've worked with different age group. And when it gets to Play-Doh, the kid comes out of me like crazy. I'm serious. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, Pete, this is embarrassing. This is for the kids. Here am I trying to squeeze and whatever. But it's fun. It's really fun. But Play-Doh, well, guess what happened? Was never meant to be a toy. Did you know that? Play-Doh was never meant to be a toy. It failed what? At its original purpose. But the company paid attention. See, again, pay attention. You see, those small things that we sometimes miss, sometimes that's where the greatness is in. Those things that seems like, hey, those small things. We have that little child that may seem to be insignificant. That family that may seem to be insignificant. That person who seems to be not as well spoken or not as attractive or tall or some say beautiful. All right. And we have a look what's happening here. But guess what happened? Teachers noticed that kids were playing with it. And when kids play with something, it's the reason why they do. All right. Parents saw creativity and joy coming out of these kids. And because the company listened to the right people, everything changed. Here's why your circle matters. Here's why your circle matters. The right people fit, or the right people lift you up. The right fit, the right people will lift you up. Have you ever experienced telling someone something they thought was exciting, good news, and they had a very like cold reaction? They didn't rejoice with you. They didn't celebrate with you. Have you had the experience before? Pay attention. There are people who say, well, that's my best friend. How do you know that's your best friend? Sometimes folks don't know that this person's not their best friend. Could be a friend, but when you say best friend, maybe you're going too far, right? Encouragement and honest feedback can turn doubt into direction. Have you ever said to yourself, you know what? Tell me what you honestly think, and I'll give it a space, not to react in a way that's going to be negative, but can I give it a chance to be vulnerable? Tell me. So I want to grow. Many folks can't get to that point, but I think many can and will. So I'm speaking to you. Um, it's important. It's very important. Your circle shapes your confidence. All right. There are people who will tell you to shut up so fast because they think that they're shining too much. They try to overshadow you the best way they can. But guess what? Stay around people who see your potential, not just your problems. Because we all have problems. I know I got my problems. We all have problems. And I'm telling you, there are times when I deal with my coach, and I know I make her real mad. I'm like, oh my God, I know sometimes I must have her pulling out of here sometimes because I can be difficult, and I think many times I come across as being insensitive and gaslighting. Get the match and light the gas. Oof. Um, and she would say, that's your gift, but just be mindful how you use it. It's so empowering. Rather than saying, okay, I see something that may run me the wrong way, just say, listen to me. Don't look at it as a bad or good thing. Look at it more as how can I use this right here? Because it's for some good. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's how can you use it most effectively, when to use it, how to use it. I mentioned some time ago that many years ago, I was told that I talk too much, but I guess those folks weren't my audience. I said they weren't bad people. They just weren't my audience. And it's good to have this kind of awareness and insight. Yes, you see, support turns setbacks into what? Comebacks. Support turn setback into comebacks. So when someone watches my channel and leave a comment and say, you know what? Hmm, I'm rethinking some things. That means they're feeling supported. That somebody somewhere, we may not know each other by family or by blood, all right, or any kind of relation, but just over the internet with true authenticity. Believe me, folks can feel it. They can know. I know everyone won't necessarily connect with the next level with Keith, and I'm not looking for that. That's unrealistic. That's not normal thinking. That's insanity. All right. I'm looking for those freedom chasers. I got some hubs, and if you go to my podcast and my podcast site, I have some hubs, right? I have one called Family Protection Hub. It's a hub. Guess what happened? I'm gonna let you know, it's not like an open for all, free for all kind of concept. You know, when you go in life, somewhere like a school or a government building or an open place, you can walk right in, and that's fine. That's not a problem at all. But if you gotta come to my home, you gotta knock first. All right, gotta knock first, all right? Then I'm gonna do a little checking out. I mean, I'm gonna see if someone I know or I want to having come into my home. So there's some steps. You like what you see and you want to get further, you're gonna request, right? You're gonna request to join, to be a member. And as you do that, I will say, hey, you know what? I like what I'm getting. I think this aligns with my purpose or what I'm trying to do. And I invite you in. All right. So what has been done has been well prepared. It's not something that I'm just thinking of as a haphazard, whatever. It's something that I think is well thought of and well looked into before presented to those who are looking and seeking. So the hubs are there. I got my family protection hub. I also have my passive income hub. And I'm telling you, talk about easy ABC stuff. There's a lot of things out there. And why many of you haven't moved yet is not because you don't have the desire. It's a little bit too complex. It's a little bit too much. For some of you it's like this clockwise, it's nothing for you. But I know me, and I know how simple and how layman I am, and I think. And there are many people just like me. All right? Many people just like me across the world who can deal with the easy stuff and the complex stuff. But there are folks who just want to stay on that kind of layman kind of thing. And that's what I offer here. So we have the passive income hub, we have the family protection hub, and we have a hub for digital training and learning. And that's going to be developing more and more and more. I got some good things that I have in store for that one. All right. And I'm just excited about it. I'm just excited about it. And whatever else you see you like there, please feel free to engage, because I think that's how we grow and we can see what's out there and all. We can build each other up in this network. It's very important that we don't look at it as a loner kind of thing, as a me, myself, and no more. But it's a we thing where we can get together and cross pollinate, as we would say, cross pollinate, and and just exchange ideas and really dig deep as a community, and we all can win together. That's what we're looking at here. All right. You know, you're looking at this. I'm gonna give you all that we have here, and because sometimes I would go and give maybe some, but you never know who might be looking for something that I have and just don't know or don't hear it. So we have the next level resource hub. right? That's the blog, right? You can definitely go on that and see what's going on there, and there's a lot in those blogs. We have a passive income hub, all right. We have what? The family protection hub. We have the digital training hub, right? We have the music and speaking hub. So there are folks who hire me, who hire my service all the time, right? And I love it. For me, it's an honor to be at someone's event who don't know me, and they go online and say, "Hey, we see you, we like you, want to have you come on down." I'm loving that as well. All right, we have the growth reading circle. All right, and that's to do with I call it my preventative measures when fun is not funny. All right, I have that as well, and I've helped support hub. So a lot of folks may be looking to maybe ask for some help or looking for support. You can also go there and know what's on your mind, and we can take it from there. All right. So the reality is that your environment, it either it feeds your fear, or it fuels your future. All right. Your environment either feeds your fear, keep you stuck, keep you in chains and actionless, or what? It fuels your future. And, that's something to think about. But we do have another segment I want to talk about as well. It's a very important segment that we all can identify with, I'm sure. And it's called Mobile Money Moves. Mobile Money Moves. And I mean, do you know PayPal? Do you have a PayPal account? Do you use PayPal at all? Do you know anybody who uses PayPal? Well, I have a PayPal account, and it has proven to be very valuable to me over the years. All right. But do you know this? That PayPal's first idea failed? Did you know that? PayPal's first idea failed. It didn't work the way the founders imagined. I mean, I've read it so many times. But instead of quitting, they watched how people were actually using the product and followed that behavior again. All right? They watched, they observed. Are you observing? All right. Sometimes what we need is in plain sight. It's right under our nose. It's actually there. And I think what beats most of us that we don't take that action. We make assumptions before we take action. All right. But check this out. The decision built one of the most powerful financial platforms in the world. But guess what happened? Here are the lessons that you want to look at. All right. Very important. Pay attention to what works. I think too often we focus on what does not work. I've fallen victim to that many times. I've been a victim of that many times. I focus on what did not work instead of focusing on what worked. One of the beautiful things that I got from coaching is that I was able to see those things that I thought were so horrible and negative in my perspective. Said no, they weren't negatives. They weren't bad. They weren't even wrong. It was research. You were discovering, learning. I think about people who, like, long, 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 long time ago, like, call it maybe caveman days. You just want to look at that, call it that way, and how they would explore and try different fruits. Remember, not all fruits or plants, you know, we can eat, but someone had to try it somehow. I mean, some of these fruits are like really dangerous, right? But imagine how many people might have died or got hurt in just testing things, trying things. Who knows? All right. So it's interesting how that is. But to pay attention to what works. So you try something and it works, you're like, you know what? Yes, yes. Let's keep it going. Focus on that. There's something else to say about people who see the glass half full opposed to just being half empty. There's something to say about that. The other thing is that flexibility makes you unstoppable. Are you flexible? Are you pliable? All right. They say the older we get, is the more we get set in our ways. Right. And I always say that if it's one thing that I admire about myself, if it's not many things, is that even though I'm older, I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to try something new. Not saying I like it or necessarily I want to do it, but seeing the need of having that kind of mind and perspective, I think it's valuable. I think it's important to have that mindset where you're open to want to explore. Right? It may come slowly, maybe in bite size. It may take you longer to get it, but having the openness, oh man, it's like it's magical. What I mean? It really is. Um, the other thing is that you want to think about is every failure gives direction. Okay, let me go this way this time. Let me make a slight turn to the right. Let me go up. Let me go down. Let me rest. Let me restart. Very important. You're learning because as you're learning, you are already winning. You're learning what not to do. All right. Because what? Failure is not stop. It's not a stop sign. Failure is not a stop sign. It's a directional signal as where to go next, what to do next. All right. So the key to tonight's podcast and all I've talked about, the key is this. What action are you going to take? What action are you going to take? That is what is so important. So let me leave you with one more example. I think you may appreciate the word slack. All right, the acronym slack. Slack came from a failed video game. The game didn't succeed. Didn't succeed. But the communication tool inside it did. The game didn't succeed, but the communication inside it did. Instead of feeling sorry for themselves, the founders took action. Again, took action. That decision changed everything. Here's why action matters. Action beats fear over time. The more action you take, fear goes away. The less fear you have. Fear loses power when you move forward. When you stop, when it paralyzes you, is when you actually looking towards failure. Don't stop. Next is progress comes from trying again. One more step might be the step that changes everything. You saw what I did in that video. One more step. And look at my pressure. All right. Now I made many steps, but that one more step made a difference. The next thing is your future is built by what you do today. Someone said, we are a picture of our decisions. All right. Your future, my future, is built by what you and I do today. Waiting won't get you there. Action will. I'm going to say it again. Waiting won't get you there. Action will. So your mistakes is not the end. Please keep it in mind. Your mistakes is not the end. Your failure is not your limit. Your setback is not your story. It is your setup. So just keep on going. All right? Keep learning. Keep believing. Just keep on going. Keep learning. Keep believing. Your biggest mistakes could become your greatest breakthrough. Don't quit. Can't quit. No way. Come too far. Take action. Because you know what? Your biggest break is closer than you think. Again, thank you for sharing your time here with me on the next level with Keith. Hope that you were inspired by this segment here. You took what was there for you. You're going to build on it. You're going to watch your circle. All right. You're going to stack things up. Start to think, sometime in bite sizes. Let patience be your guide. I'm telling you, I see a bright future for you. Thank you again. My name is Keith, and see you on my next podcast, episode 8. God bless. Thanks for watching.
If today's episode spoke to you, it's because you're ready. Ready for your money to work for you. Ready for practical steps, not just motivation. Ready for faith-led financial freedom. Ready to build stability, peace, and confidence for your family. You're not alone on this journey. The next level isn't just a podcast. It's a movement toward freedom, one episode at a time. Stay connected. Listen anytime at podcast.keithmerritt.com. Explore the Next Level Movement Hub. Subscribe on YouTube at Keith Merritt. Like, share, comment. Your engagement helps this message reach more families. Take your next step. Visit keithmerritt.com/impact/the next level. Subscribe for the latest blog from the Freedom Resource Hub and join the Next Level Resource Network. Choose the hub that fits your journey: music and speaking, family protection, digital learning, passive income, or Keith's book and reading hub. Press play. Take action. Your next level is calling.